Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. Thank you all for joining me once again. So I want to respond to a video that I watched, a TMZ video that I watched recently. And I wanted to respond to this because this is in reference to the Nolan Wells case where the young Black American boy was found dead. And you know, the rumors going around that this may have involved what may have been a racial situation. You know, that's usually how it's always spun, right? But I wanted to respond to a video that I just watched here with TMZ, the two hosts. I don't watch TMZ, but I mean, I want to respond to the video and the way this information was presented, you know, because they are interviewing Nolan's best friend, one of his best friends, and he's a black guy. He's a young black boy. And what seems to be happening in this video, now I can't show you guys this video. I can only show you, you know, let you listen in on the audio clip, but you can kind of tell how it's being spun. You can tell how it's being spun because TMZ is ultra left. That much I know. They leftists. They're left. And so, you know, the left always, and I say it and I'm going to keep saying it, the left always, for the most part, see everything as a racial issue. The oppressed and the oppressor. That's how they see it, which is amazing to me because you got a white guy standing next to a black guy, two hosts of TMZ, white guy standing next to a black guy. And I know he feels like a clown sometimes because you got to always feel like, man, you know, my people are just so horrible. We just so horrible as white people. We are innately racist. Can you imagine living with that thought about yourself? But anyway, those kind of white people aggravate me. Those are the kind of white people, the self-loathing white people that just hate themselves because of things that maybe some of their ancestors may have did in the past, which they may not even be related to, quite frankly. And now they're hating themselves because of it. It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, I want to let you guys listen in on a part of this audio clip of them interviewing, the two TMZ hosts interviewing Nolan Wells' friend, who is a black guy, and we were going to talk about this, okay? We're going to talk about this.
I think they would at least want to know, hey, just the things
Wait a minute, this stupid thing.
An argument. Seen the video that's been going around social media where people think that they're hearing an argument between people and they're wondering whether or not Nolan is one of the people in that argument. You just described that you had another friend, not Nolan, another friend who was in an...
And let me say this is not the entire interview. Obviously, this kind of came in at the end. I have this audio clip is from Newsbreak. And so they didn't give me the entire interview, which I understand that. I'm not asking for the entire interview, you know. But yeah, so we're coming in kind of like at the end or the midsection of the interview. Why does he keep doing this? Hold on. Keeps
seen the video that's been going around social media where people think that they're hearing an argument between people and they're wondering whether or not Nolan is one of the people in that argument. You just described that you had another friend, not Nolan, another friend who was got into a dispute. Is that video the other argument that you were talking about?
Yes.
So, but is that Nolan in the video?
I can't tell. It's too far away. But in that video, I feel like the voices are too clear. Like from the side, it's too clear for it to be that far away, for it to be Nolan arguing. And then also that altercation, it sounds just like my other friend that got into an altercation on the boat. And they were trying to, like, as he was in that altercation, I was calming him down. They were trying to get him out off the island. They were trying to get him back to land because he was just losing it. So
describe that. That's kind of interesting. What was that about?
Notice how they...
He was just very hostile. Like, he was just, like, really, like mad. Like, they were just trying to, like, the parents on that boat were trying to get him out.
I'm curious if the police have... I know they said they're still investigating. Did any investigators ever speak to you about what you saw that day?
No, sir.
Really? Okay. Cops have not talked to you yet?
No, sir.
That's odd.
I don't see why the cops would have to talk to me. I mean, obviously, like, you know, like I had said my plea, like, because whenever I had talked to the people at Sunherd, it was whenever, you know, the body was discovered and the autopsy people and all those people were there.
Well, I'll tell you why I'm surprised. Because you knew Nolan well, and you knew that he was friends with these guys who were the last ones to be around him before his body was found. And I would think they would at least want to know, hey, just the things we're asking.
Right.
You know, did you ever hear of any of this stuff? It's odd to me.
Just to gather information.
Yeah, that the cops wouldn't have contacted you. Yeah.
And that's fine. Like, I'm completely fine with that. Like I said, I have nothing to hide. Like, that's my boy, and I want him to find justice. Like that. Like this whole case thing. Like whatever. Like this whole situation. And none of this adds up to me. So like, it's really hard. Like for like people to just like keep on saying things when like none of it adds up. Honestly.
So one of the things that I'm sure, Javon, you've seen has been a big part of this story. People making the point that, at least in the photos that we initially saw, that Nolan was the only African-American kid who was out there, at least on that boat.
Here we go. See what I mean?
Do you think, having been there on the island with this large group of people, that race plays a factor in whatever happened?
These people disgust me.
Again,
he doesn't want to respond.
I don't want to answer that. I don't want to answer that question. I wouldn't say like, yeah, I wouldn't want to answer that question. I mean, obviously we go to Ocean Springs, we're going to have white friends. So like, that's, I mean, I guess it's pretty normal down here, but.
Yeah, I mean, and I hear you. If that's, I guess you're saying that it's normal. It's not out of place to be a black teen in that area and that you have white friends, right? That's not uncommon.
Stop edging him on, man.
I'm sure
let him just
black
explain
person
himself.
has white friends somewhere, you know. So I wouldn't say that it's a whole race thing, but it's just like, obviously they're going to paint it as that because none of this adds up.
All right. That's about all we're going to talk about there. Yeah. I just wanted to read. I just want you guys to listen, and I hope you was able to get the gist of what was being said there. I mean, I just felt like the hosts were just trying to edge him on to, you know, the whole thing about it being a racial issue. But let me just read some of this stuff here. Let me read something here. About Ben Crump. Now, I've been hearing this whole talk about Ben Crump, and I'm like wondering who's Ben Crump is. I done seen TikTok videos, people talking about who is Ben Crump, and I did a little bit of research and found that Ben Crump is some kind of a civil rights attorney, and he's the attorney that the parents of Nolan got in contact with, and he's doing an independent investigation. Apart from the Mississippi police investigation, he's doing an independent investigation to see if he can get justice for Nolan's family, right? Now, a lot of this supposedly is based on Mississippi's past. Mississippi has been known to be a racially charged place, and that is true. I mean, you know, to some extent that is true, but there's a lot more to that than what a lot of people think, because communists are involved in a lot of the civil. What people don't understand too is that communists infiltrated the civil rights movement, but that's another story, and I digress. Yeah, there was more to it than what you just see in these documentaries about the civil rights movement. But anyway, it's a lot of these accusations of a racial situation involving Nolan's death is based in part on Mississippi's past. The problem with that assessment is not accurate enough. You can't just take something in the past and assume, you know, injustices committed against blacks in the past, and then fast forward to the future and assume that because a black person died, who was just one black person on the boat or whatever with all his white friends, that it was racially motivated. You can't assume that. That's not enough evidence. Okay. But anyway, meanwhile, attorney Ben Crump told us on TMZ Live yesterday, he has been trying to pull the investigation away from Mississippi authorities. So he's been trying to take it away from them. So clearly, according to this article, he hasn't been able to achieve that. Maybe at this point he might have, but according to this article, he hasn't been able to achieve that. He's trying to pull it away from them. Why? I don't know, but well, maybe because, as I mentioned earlier, let me retract that. Maybe it's because they may try to cover something up, maybe. But anyway, thinking there could be a cover-up based on the state's history of racial violence. See what I just said? And I didn't know that, but based on the history of the state's history of racial violence, there could be a cover-up. So I get that. I understand that. But you still can't make an assumption based on the idea that Nolan's friends were all white and he was black. You just can't do that. You just can't do that. Jayon disagrees. That's his friend. He says labeling this case as a race thing is not the way to go, telling us, quote, obviously they're going to paint it as that because none of this adds up. But the way that video was being, the way I heard it in that video, it didn't seem that was the tone. Okay. It seemed like to me that the hosts were trying to edge him on to make him admit that it's racially motivated, right? This was a racial situation. And it seems like to me that he wasn't falling for it. Don't try to edge me into something to make it a racial thing. You guys are the ones making it a racial thing. I'm not. I want to get at the bottom of it. This is what I'm reading from. I want to get at the bottom of this myself because he's my friend. And things aren't adding up. But according to the video that talks about him, Nolan being in an argument with some people on the island and stuff, had nothing to do with the other guys, his white friends. Anyway, Javon also offers some clarity on one of the investigation's contradictions, the viral video that has circulated around social media. He says there was a fight on the island, but it did not involve Nolan, but rather a different friend who was acting, quote, very hostile, while his parents were trying to get him off the island. We spoke with the original owner of that viral video on Friday as well, and they also confirmed there was a fight on the island that involved, quote, a mixed kid and a white kid, which is not part of the video or the reason it was posted in the first place. The investigation remains ongoing. There's a lot there, and the investigation remains ongoing. The bottom line is this: we really don't know what happened. We really don't know what the outcome is going to be. Is it possible that he was murdered by these kids? It could be possible. It could be possible. But my problem is, and my issue is, constantly turning things into a racial issue. I said this before in the other video. If all these boys were all black or all white, none of this would be an issue. It would be on the news, but you wouldn't hear anything about race. But because the boy Nolan was black and all his friends, people around him was white, they make it a racial issue. Regardless of the history of Mississippi's racial history or racially motivated history, whatever, has nothing to do necessarily with what's going on now. Okay, Ben Crump, pumpity pump tump, whatever. Okay, trying to take the case investigation away from the Mississippi authorities, to me, is ludicrous. Because in his whole, I know he needs to get paid. He needs to get paid. He's going to get paid anyway. What difference does it make? Getting paid anyway, retainer fee, whatever he gets up front. Getting paid anyway, what difference does it make? But to try to take this from the Mississippi authorities, I think is too much. I think it's too much. They're still investigating it. And I don't think at this point that the Mississippi authorities, knowing that they have a history, supposedly according to this article, okay, and I've read some things, they do have a history of racial violence and so forth. Yeah, okay. That to try to take this from the case from them, I think it's too much. I think it's too much, and I don't think it's enough to try to say that they're trying to cover this up. They're trying to cover something up. Is it possible that they may be trying to cover something up? Or is this Ben Crump just trying to look for loopholes in the investigation so he can have a reason to make this a racial thing so that he can get publicity and all the rest? I mean, wasn't that the case with the O.J. Simpson situation? Had the O.J. Simpson case, and I'm telling the truth, had the O.J. Simpson case just been all black people or all white people, it would have been mentioned, yes, definitely. But you wouldn't have heard nothing about race. You wouldn't have heard nothing about race. Man, we got white people and black people marrying each other, slobbing all over each other, kissing all over each other. You name it, they doing all kinds of things with each other. Now, are there some racist white people in this country? Of course there is. But there are also some racist black people in this country. There are also some racist Indians. There are also some racist Arabs. There are also some racist, whatever nationality. Being racist means that you look at another race or another nationality or another racial group. This is the textbook definition, not the made up definition, as inferior to you and you superior to them. That's what racism is in essence. And every nationality and every racial group and ethnicity have been guilty of that, and they can do that. It's simple. It's simple, and have done it. So that's where this all comes from. Had it not been, if it had been just, if it had just been all whites, if it had just been all blacks, you wouldn't hear anything about this. And once again, this is what's keeping us divided, making everything a racial issue. And I can't help but wonder why black people, and I'm blaming black people because they're the ones that keep falling for the racial epithet. They're the ones that keep falling for the racial thing. Ooh, I just did a video on whatever that woman's name is, Jennifer whatever, and the stupid stuff came out of her mouth. Stop killing our black kids. We love our black kids with their black skin. You sound like a black fool. That's what you sound like. I mean, but anyway, I'm going off on that one, but I already talked about that. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because, and the fact that they didn't want the police didn't want to interview him, or that he wasn't being interviewed, that is kind of skeptical, kind of weird. Why would they want to interview him? I don't know, but it could be. But let me take it back. It could be that they don't want to talk to him because. Why? He wasn't there. He wasn't there when it happened. I mean, so why would you want to interview him? I mean, why would you want to have a talk with him? He wasn't there. He didn't know what actually happened on the boat. He doesn't know. What was supposed to be the goal is to try to find out if this is foul play or whatever. I mean, I don't know exactly. Did the boy come or did he end up drowned or strangled or shot or what? Was there any evidence of foul play? Now, if there was evidence of foul play, then you could say, okay, we're going to do an investigation, see who took him out. But if there was no evidence of foul play, and this part I'm not aware of, so please let me know in the comment section, because I didn't get that far in my own research of whether or not it was speculation of foul play. I mean, what happened? Was he drowned, or did he drown by mistakenly, or did someone beat him? Did someone strangle him? Did someone, if there's no evidence of foul play, then how can we even gather this idea that he was, taken out of here? If you know what I mean. I got to be careful with my words. So all this racial stuff, man, it just got to stop. That's the bottom line. All the racial stuff just got to stop. And so I just wanted to comment on that. This is an ongoing investigation, and I might be following up a little later on it to see exactly what the outcome could be, because no one knows for sure what the evidence might be. No one really knows what the outcome is, whether this is foul play or what. Because let me end it on this: if it was foul play, does that still mean was it really racially motivated? And how long have Nolan been friends with these boys? I mean, did he just meet them? Or were they friends for a long time? Because if they were friends for a long time, chances are it probably wasn't racially motivated. Did he get into an argument with any of these friends? I mean, it's so many questions to be answered, right? And even if it was an argument that he got into with one of his white friends or some of his white friends, and they got into an argument with him, that is not evidence that there was foul play involved. People get into arguments all the time. It don't mean that they had something to do with the offering of their partner or friend. That doesn't have anything to do with it. Stuff happens. situations happen that you have no control over. But anyway, that's my word on it. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, subscribe to my channel. God bless you all. See you again.